guys, I'm Roxie with Roxie's Broadway Breakdown. Welcome back to my channel where it's always about musical theater. So if you like that, this is the place to be. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, so I want to talk about the most recent production of Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl, starring Cynthia Erivo and Adam Lambert in the title roles. This was coming down the pike. I talked about this in another video. I talked about Cynthia Erivo that had been announced taking the title role of Jesus Christ, and there was a lot of controversy behind it, of course. There had been an all-female cast recording of it, so I thought that maybe they were going to do like an all-female version of the show, because when they announced her as Jesus Christ Superstar, it just said cast, rest of cast to be determined. So when I finally saw the cast list, I was like, oh, this is like a cast for all times. I mean, even though it's not all female, this is going to be a great cast. It was Cynthia Erivo as Jesus Christ, Adam Lambert as Judas, Raul Esparza as Pontius Pilate, Phillipa Soo as Mary Magdalene, and Josh Gad as King Herod. That's a pretty impressive cast. So, yes, August 1st through August 3rd, it played at the Hollywood Bowl. And there are clips all over the internet. So if you want to catch the show, you can catch it all over YouTube and, like I say, Insta and everywhere. I'm just hoping. I am hoping that it was filmed professionally and that they're going to stream it. And what I'm even hoping more is that this was like a seed of an idea, like maybe an out-of-town tryout to get this production onto Broadway, because it so deserves to be on Broadway. Not just like the production and the way it was done, but this particular cast, because this was a cast for all ages, like of all time, to do this show and to do the show this way. Let me start. Okay. So, Jesus Christ Superstar is meant to be a rock opera. Like, it's meant to be rocked out. And that's what this cast did. Ted Neely, who starred in the movie, with Carl Anderson, along Carl Anderson as Judas, they've kind of always been like the bar for me, because they're like their voices and just the way they took on the characters and their interpretations, just they kind of always set the bar for me for this show. And this is one of my favorite shows. I've seen this show countless times, so I love this show. And Ted Neely, for me especially, I mean, this guy, and I happened to see them on tour. They did like a reprisal tour of them, like with the two of them in their, they must have been in their 60s doing this. And Ted Neely could still hit those freaking notes in Gethsemane. And a couple of years ago, they did like a 50th anniversary tour. I mean, it was like, I mean, this show was done in the 70s, okay? So they did this tribute anniversary tour to Jesus Christ Superstar, and Ted Neely sang Gethsemane. Now, this dude's in his 80s, okay? And he was still hitting those incredible notes, like still with that rock-sounding belt tones. Like, I mean, I don't know, he's like a G sharp. I mean, it's something outrageous that the dude hits. He's still singing that, you know, why should I die? I mean, it's insane what he's hitting at his age. He is really taking care of his instrument. So yeah, I still kind of go by Ted Neely. Now, just out of total respect and what he's still doing at his age and just the way he's singing. And I just really love his interpretation of Gethsemane. So, in looking at this show and Cynthia Erivo, and how much I love her voice, I just respect her as a performer. I absolutely love Cynthia Erivo, and to hear her singing these songs, she knocked it out of the ballpark. Okay, she really did. I absolutely loved her voice. She sounded gorgeous singing these songs. Her interpretation of Gethsemane was very different than Ted Neely. Like I say, he has that sort of rock grit, and there's an anger. And there's an anger to this song, I would say. She just did a different interpretation. She has it well within her wheelhouse to really do anything she wants with her voice. And there were times she chose to have that angry rock grit, especially in the more combative scenes with Judas. So Gethsemane, she chose to show a little more restraint. She still sang it with this powerhouse belt and all the emotion that it needed. I found she did it with a little more, maybe sometimes prayerful thought behind it, maybe a little more pleading, but it brought down the house. She just brought down the house, and it was a fantastic rendition of Gethsemane. I didn't mind that Jesus was, I mean, she identifies herself as a queer black female. And maybe that was the indifferent interpretation, is that, you know, just somebody of a different gender identifying person is doing it rather than, you know, a straight male is playing Jesus. I don't know, but it all worked for me, and I loved her in this role, and her vocals were like otherworldly. Moving on to Adam Lambert. I have to admit, before this, I was not a huge Adam Lambert fan. I always found him just sort of over the top. I mean, his vocals were always great. That's undeniable. But I always kind of found his whole being just kind of over the top and in your face. And I guess he was an American Idol person, but he was then a solo artist. And then he went on tour with Queen, and I kind of always was like, I think I compared him too much to Freddie Mercury, and I'm like, there's nobody but like Freddie Mercury but Freddie Mercury. It's kind of always hard to fill those, you know, shoes. And then this past year, he took over for Eddie Redmayne and Cabaret as the MC, and he said he really liked doing musical theater, and he'd like to do more musical theater. And so I guess when offered this chance, he jumped at it. And I gotta tell you, this was his role. Judas was like his role. It was the best mix of, I guess, musical theater and rock. And he really took on the character. Judas has that sort of angry side to him. But I saw like acting from Adam Lambert, and I saw like just enough proportion of questioning and emotion and anger and angst and just betrayal and feeling bad about it, and just all the complicated emotions and that Judas needs to have, I saw from him. And the vocals, oh my gosh, I think this was probably one of the best, if not the best, Judas I've ever heard. He's such a technician with his vocals anyway, but then just, this is one of the most difficult roles to sing, and then he just nailed all those riffs, and he just had that grit and that rock sound, and then just that big voice of his, and then he's just a big guy, so he's just this like force on stage. And then when he starts singing against Cynthia Erivo and the way they played off of each other, and oh my gosh, I can't say it enough. It was just like watching them on stage, these two talented powerhouses against each other was just amazing. It was really something to behold. Raul Esparza is just a Broadway veteran, and you're always gonna get, you know, just this classic performance, and him as Pontius Pilate, I think, was perfect casting. Phillipa Soo, her voice just is like a cloud. It just lands on a cloud, and she just did this beautiful rendition of I Don't Know How to Love Him, so just gorgeous. And then Josh Gad, who's another Broadway veteran, you know, just has this perfect comedic timing and perfect shtick as King Herod. And so I thought he nailed it. Yeah, Josh Gad as King Herod was perfection for me. He missed the either first or second performance due to COVID, and John Stamos filled in for him. He was okay. I mean, considering he had, I think, like 1 day of rehearsal to fill in for him. But when I saw Josh Gad do it, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely his role. That was his role. So, as far as like sets, I mean, the set for Jesus Christ is always pretty abstract, you know, fill in your imagination. Costumes were pretty much the usual fare for Jesus Christ Superstar. Choreography, I so wish I can't find anywhere Simon's number, which is usually like the big dance number of the whole show, and I'm so angry I can't find Simon's number anywhere. That's usually how I gauge like the choreography of the show, is Simon's huge, you know, dance number. Is Simon's number. So other than that, I mean, this was a glorious production of Jesus Christ Superstar, and I really hope it makes its way to Broadway. So there are my thoughts. If you were there, let me know. If you haven't seen it, or, you know, go watch it, go catch the clips on YouTube and anywhere else you can find them. And if you have watched the clips, let me know your thoughts. Until next time, bye.